welcome back. And I just, this is very troubling to many people. And I felt that we needed to have some people who really know what's going on. And I'm really honored to welcome the two ladies that are here with me now. And of course, South Carolina House Representative Wendy Nanny, and she is District 22. Yeah. And then, of course, we have District 37.
Yes.
And that is Donna Hicks Wood. And I appreciate your coming. And you're obviously working to defeat, I guess, this bill. And the bill number is 4223, which doesn't really mean much to most people when you read about it. But here's what it says. 63% of women believe that abortion should not be permitted after the point where the substantial medical evidence says that the unborn child can feel pain, and also that the unborn child could survive outside the mother's body. So,
absolutely.
How do you justify that this is something that should be done? I mean, it's appalling.
Well, this bill was introduced because medical science, we had over 60 studies that were presented in our subcommittee hearing that once a baby reaches 20 weeks of age, it can feel pain. And the abortions that were being used at 20 weeks were incredibly painful to these babies. So this bill is stopping those at that point. Although we would love to see all abortions gone, at least this takes it back to 20 weeks. And the biggest part of this bill, it gives the state of South Carolina the ability to recognize that baby in the womb as a baby and protect it.
It's a human being.
It is, and this bill gives the state the right to do that. Beforehand, the state didn't have the right to do that. So it is allowed now to recognize that is a living, breathing human being in there, and they can protect the life.
So in other words, after a certain period, abortion could not be performed in South Carolina.
Correct.
Are there any other states that have adopted this?
Yes, I believe it's 11.
There are 11 states.
11 other states have adopted this already.
Okay, so that's a plus, isn't it,
Yes.
for us? If you can say, well, you know, some of these other states have gone out on a limb for this.
Right. The most recent one that's been in the news a lot is Texas. They had quite a big battle in their state house about the bill, and it ended up being upheld. And the case has been challenged in Arizona, and the Ninth Circuit Court ruled against it, but it's an extremely liberal circuit. So we feel like here in South Carolina, the courts would uphold our this bill and ban abortions after 20 weeks.
So if you could achieve that, then it would be upheld in our state.
Exactly. Currently, the Roe v. Wade says babies are viable at 24 weeks, so this would push it back to at least 20 weeks, and hopefully we can keep pushing back till abortions are completely eliminated. But this is the first step in trying to push the weeks back.
Well, there's something else that a person who performs an abortion has to have credentials and have access to a hospital and all that. Is that a different bill?
That is.
You know, it's very confusing to people, all of this. You read it, and you really don't understand. You think, well, now, wait a minute, what was that?
That bill that you're talking about, Senator Lee Bright currently has that bill in the Senate. And that one has, I think it just passed out of subcommittee and will go to the floor, but they have not debated that one on the floor yet. But that's the one where you have to be a OBGYN and have to have admittance to a hospital. Our bill is different. Ours says that the state has compelling interest in the baby at 20 weeks because the baby can feel pain, which under state law will still give the woman 19 weeks to decide to abort if she wants to, which she and I are totally pro-life and against that, but it pushes it back like Representative.
Are you in for a big fight with this?
Yes.
It's already, wait a minute, it's passed.
It's passed the House. Now it has to go to the Senate.
So now it's on its way to the Senate, and that's where the problem's going to come.
That's where the fight will be, yes.
The Senate, Senator Hutto has already publicly come out and said that he is going to try to defeat the bill. And our Senate rules are much different than our House rules. In the Senate, one senator can block a bill. So that's our challenge at this point, to get it into the Senate and then to try to get a vote on it. But it is a struggle in the Senate often because one senator has so much power
So
over there.
one senator can destroy all the work that's been done.
Yes.
Yes. Please call Senator Hutto.
All right, now that was my next question.
Yes.
We have a phone number, which is a Columbia number, 803-212-6877. If somebody wants to call and find out even more about this, they're welcome to call that number. You are both Republicans.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is not strictly a Republican-Democrat kind of thing, is it?
No. We had
I mean,
14.
there are many Democrats that don't agree with abortion.
Right. We had 14 Democrats that voted yes in favor of this bill, along with every Republican in the House of Representatives that voted. It was a huge victory.
And it can all be, when is this all going to transpire now in our Senate? I mean, the things get kind of
It will go to a
embedded,
subcommittee.
don't they?
Right. It will
It'll
go to a subcommittee. Right?
and probably in the next several weeks it'll be in subcommittee. And then just depending on how quickly subcommittee gets to it, it has to go to the full committee then. And from the full committee, it'll be put on the Senate calendar.
Okay, so now, so we all understand this. This is called the fetal pain bill.
Yes.
And this bill will not change a person's right to have an abortion, except at a certain stage.
Correct.
Am I right on that?
Correct.
In other words, a woman can
Correct.
still have an abortion up to 19
20
weeks, but
Right.
after 20 weeks,
No abortions.
no abortion. So that's what
That is
you're
correct.
trying to
Right.
accomplish.
Right. And there is
An exception.
thank you. That's the word I was looking for. An exception in the bill that if a woman is in a life-threatening situation,
Yeah, all right,
that
sure.
she can have an abortion. But it also says in the bill that if the baby is to be aborted, it should be aborted in a manner that it may live. It cannot be ripped out of the mother's womb and killed. In other words, the baby must be taken so that it has a chance at life as well.
And of course, if a woman is ill and has then they have a right, a doctor then obviously would be the one.
Right, but he must take the baby to try to
And
save
try to
both.
deliver it alive
Yeah,
as opposed
right.
to.
Both the mother and the baby. Try to save both lives, in other words.
Right.
Otherwise, the woman would carry it to full term.
Yeah, and
Right.
and now, as things stand, it's not like that.
Right.
Abortion is
Abortion,
brutal.
Roe v. Wade has said at 24 weeks a baby is viable. So at 24 weeks, you're not supposed to abort after that. But we still have abortions that late in South Carolina. It's getting people to understand that that baby feels that, it's a baby. The argument on the floor the other day was, it's just a fetus. How can you call it a baby? And there was a picture put up of a 20-week-old, and he's, laying there sucking his thumb. And how can you deny that's a baby? Had a gentleman email me and say his granddaughter was born at 20 weeks. She's now 3. She's the only, granddaughter in the family and the joy of all their lives. And how can you take a life at 20 weeks? So a lot of people have a hard time arguing against this bill. It's a good bill.
And who brought this bill? You're supporting it, obviously, both of you. But who was the one that brought this bill forward or created it, I guess?
The national right to life or is it South Carolina citizens?
National right to life. Okay. It's a bill, as Donna
model
said,
legislation.
yeah,
Okay.
that 11 states have already passed. So they approached us and wanted us to move this bill forward in South Carolina. South Carolina is a very conservative state, but unfortunately our abortion laws are some of the weakest in the country.
Really?
Yes, surprising. It's something we need to work on.
I thought we had made a lot of progress, and some of the abortion clinics have been closed.
We
Am I
only have
wrong?
3 now. So some of them have, but we still have the most lenient laws, some of the most. As a matter of fact, the United States is one of 4 countries that have the most liberal abortion laws. China, North Korea, USA, and Canada. Those are the 4 leading countries with the most liberal abortion laws.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And our state right now says what? What on our books in South Carolina, what do we say?
You may abort a baby up to 24 weeks for any reason.
Okay, and this is what you're trying to change from
Yes, ma'am.
24 to 20,
Right.
to 20 weeks.
Yes.
And it seems to me that the other bill where a doctor has to have the right credentials
Right.
and have access to a hospital and care, this is only common sense for a woman.
Yes.
A woman who has an abortion after 20 weeks is 35 times more likely to die from the abortion.
Yeah. I mean, there are dangerous factors
Very
involved.
dangerous, very dangerous. So to have a doctor who doesn't have admitting rights to a hospital, you know, and a woman is in danger, it's just wrong. So
All right, now where do we stand with that?
that's in the Senate. I just passed out a subcommittee, so it's got to go to full committee and then
Excuse
to the
me.
Senate floor.
So you have people who oppose this as well?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Senator Hutto opposes any pro-life legislation. He will be one of them to oppose.
All right, now what do you need people to do?
We need the church to pray, for one thing, for God to move in a miraculous way. And we need for them to also follow it with phone calls, to be involved. And there are political activists that are involved, but we need the church to rise up. She needs to rise up. She does.
And so, but we as just everyday citizens can call our elected representatives.
Absolutely.
Just a simple phone call.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know who your representative is, you can call that number and find out.
Exactly.
And you can call and express your opinion.
Right, and we're all listed on a website too, the South Carolina schouse.gov, and then there's scsenate.gov. If you go to either one of those websites, then you can find every one of our names and contact information and our picture.
Okay,
So-
that's the way to do it
Yes.
then. And you need the support of everybody at this point.
Of everyone. The Senate needs to hear. We've passed it out of the House. We
So
can do
don't
nothing
call your
more.
House of Representatives.
We
call
can do
your
nothing
state
more.
senator.
Yes.
And especially Senator Hutto, and you know, he may be against the bill, we know he is, but at least allow it to have a vote on the Senate floor.
But do they pay attention? If Senator Hutto gets a lot of phone calls, will that make him stop and think, or?
It may make him pay attention. It's more important when his constituents call, his voters.
Okay.
If his voters call.
And of course, he's down in Orangeburg.
He's in
So it wouldn't
Orangeburg.
be beneficial for us in the upstate.
But the more contacts that are made with him, the more pressure there is on him to at least allow a vote. I
Right.
mean, he can vote against it, but at least allow a vote on the Senate floor.
Why is it that one person, be they Democrat or Republican, can hold up or stop what everybody else has worked on? I don't understand that. One person.
It's different in the House, but that's the rules for the Senate. That's the way they work.
It's a frustrating rule at times. The
It
Senate
is.
was meant to be a more deliberative body and has a lot more power in what goes through there. Senate moves much slower than the House does, and they just have a lot more power to stop an individual bill.
Thank you for what you're doing. That
Well,
you're
thank you.
moving
Thank you for giving us an opportunity
South
to talk about
Carolina
it.
into perhaps a more humane way of looking at things. And the number on that bill is 4223, or it's just the fetal pain bill. And call your senator and just tell them, take a look at this and be sure that we preserve at 20 weeks where a child can survive and live.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you both. Bless
Thank
you.
you.
Bless
Thank
you
you
for
so
what
much.
you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, too.
Wherever you are, we wish you joy. Bye-bye.